You guys can make a quick video on LIXT. Two shorts on this. Missed a long in the missed two longs in the pre-market. And took two shorts at market open because there's some bearish factors going on in this play. So, I saw the market open pop. Had a few people in the Discord room actually long off the bids here. Some bids down at 3. Absolutely insane move. There was really no short on this push. I could see taking the high day clear out. A lot of times, these aggressive, whenever you get like overly aggressive high day clear outs, it could be bearish, right? Because there's very little consolidation. A lot of times they're just throwing bids under the stock to get the high day clear out, and they pull it. And the high day clear out's been working in this market. But I've been not taking most high day. This is the first high day clear out I actually took in a while. Just because in a strong market, high day clear outs, and we'll talk about IBIO. I did take some losses on IBIO, wasn't too much. Took 2 trades on it. One I cut for around break even, and the other one I lost about 10 cents on, but it was also smaller size. And then I haven't traded it the rest of the day. I'll talk about IBIO later. But LIXT, a big thing about this push to high day here is, a major factor that goes into whether a stock is going to squeeze high day, another time is bid follow-up, right? We're going to look at the bid follow-up. They started putting a lot of bids on this. Pretty much right away, pretty much on the first pullback, they started stacking bids, which is really not what you want to see. It doesn't always mean the stock's going to get held up, but if your thesis is, high day clear out in a market where high day clear outs are working, it's not what you want to see. And sometimes it's annoying because you might take the high day clear out here, on the first or second candle, and the bids might not show up till 5 minutes later in the pullback. So you're not really gonna know. And then when the bids do come in, like we'll see how my short here, I thought, we'll see why I took the cover on the 1 minute 50 here. And then I cut the rest because I thought this was gonna squeeze high day, right? I thought today might be stronger just because we saw more volume in plays like this, more volume in plays like IBIO. And overall, if I think high day is really painted, we see the high day clear out short trap, we see the lower high paint. There are massive bid stacks right here, which is why it bounced and rotated. You never know. So you never know how high day is going to squeeze. Obviously, it's a target. But at the same time, I was prepared for if it came back under 420, because high day clearouts have been working, right? So, so a couple things here. There was a ton of bids here, and this first push failed, which there's a chance it just failed and faded, right? But you always have to have a bullish thesis, and the bullish thesis is that these bids are going to hold. We'll look at the bids, and now we have lower high paint, right? And we have fake whole dollar resistance, right? So we have $4 being a possible target. Retail shorts like to hit $half whole dollar resistance levels, and those levels like to get attacked. So that's a bullish factor. Lower high paint, more lower high paint. I actually thought this had a chance to fade right here because it filled a really big ask with no bid follow-up, and it looked like it was about to fade, but they just ended up pulling it back into these bids. And then a really nice, clean, lower high long with fake $4 resistance happened, and I should have just chased in the 380s here, just going for the scalp, because again, we're in a market where we're not seeing massive continuation on the gappers. Even IBIO, even that stock really still only pushed to 3.3, and it was trading near $3 at market open. So we still don't really have, we're not getting 50, 100% pushes on the big gappers yet. So that's something important to know. So I usually don't trade the 930 candle in the vast majority of situations. I saw the pullback. I saw the push. They stacked a lot of ask up here. There's no bid follow-up. I shorted it because I'm like, well, maybe this high day clear out is going to be the one that just ends up fading, and maybe they just instantly, they long trap and pull it. The book looked good. The market conditions I thought were good for this type of play. I took the short. They stacked a bunch of bids at the 1 minute 50. I took a little bit off because, I was telling people in my Discord, I'm like, a lot of my short covers are just places where I think a long might work, right? And we've seen, we have, high day cloud short trap is always a possibility, even in a weaker market, right? If the volume is there, you can't discount the possible short trap pattern. And then we have a lower high paint, right? So market open volume is potentially bullish, potential short trap pattern at market open, and now we're getting a pullback into the 1 minute 50 with bid stacks and an empty order book to the upside, right? We'll see that. So, from a manipulated long perspective, it makes sense to take a cover down here. And then I just kind of got out break even because once I saw how aggressive this was rotating, I'm like, oh, let me just get out before high day gets even squeezed, because a lot of times I'll do that if the paint is there, right? The potential short trap, the potential paint, I'll just make a decision to get out early instead of getting out, with slippage up here. But then, yeah, they just did a high day clear out. They filled a bunch of ask, and they not a lot of bid follow up, and they started pulling it. I just went back in, and this is a pattern that's been working, right? And if this is a pattern that's been working, I've been telling my Discord, and I've been trying to make it. This was really one of the first high day clouds I hit. I missed the ABVC yesterday and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of high day clearouts I missed, and I think one of the biggest edges is paying attention to what patterns have been working, right? So yeah, covered some down here. Nice backside clear out. This is a classic backside clear out where we had this 3.6 level painted. They stacked a really big ask. They fill the ask and then they pull it, right? So we'll go over, here's the Thinkorswim chart, right? So here is the high day clear out, nice volume coming in, and then the 1 minute 20. We've seen 1 minute 20 longs work in the pre-market. That's one of the long patterns that's really been working is, these quick, you get a high day clear out, and then you get a dump to the 1 minute 20, right? I usually don't like longing straight off the 1 minute 9. Sometimes you get crazy Momo, and stocks just go 1 minute 9, 1 minute 9, 1 minute 9. But I find betting on that is usually not the play, right? Vast majority of the time, unless you have a really good reason in terms of chart paint, in terms of volume, in terms of the book, unless you have a really, really, really good reason, it's usually best to wait for the 1 minute 20 and the 1 minute 50 pullbacks for your longs, right? And so we had both those work today, right? We had here's the 1 minute 20 soak, right? With the bid stacks, we'll look at those. And here's that 1 minute 50 bid stack that came in that initiated this push, right? By the way, it came back to that same bid stack here, but that trick only works so many times. If you see a 1 minute 50 high day squeeze, the odds of another 1 minute 50 high day squeeze go down, right? The more liquidity squeezes that happen, the less likely the same trick is going to work, right? Also, there are a bunch of single orders here. You can see on my Thinkorswim, I fixed the candles. There's a bunch of weird wicks up at $4 here, so I fixed that. But yeah, let's go to the book. We'll just go straight to the pre-market. Here's that bid stack that held in the pre-market down at 3. Massive rotation. And this was really strong, like bid follow up, bid follow up, bid follow up, bid follow up. Now, stocks sometimes, are not going to go straight up only just because there's bids following it up. But this is a little trick, which is great for longing, which is where they put like a big bid they soak all the selling and they rotate it back up, right? This could be super bullish, right? Like they fill like a 20, 30,000 share bid. And look, they just ended up just throwing up another bid under this and initiating it. And then we had more bid follow. This was actually not a bad chase candle right here. Chasing into the 350s here because of how aggressive this move is. Very bullish book. And yeah, here's that squeeze of $4. So we have $4 paint, right? And then we start to get, and I can understand why people would take the high day clear out. It's a pattern that's been working. Nothing wrong with that. But what really matters is, well, what's the 1 minute 9 and 1 minute 20 pullbacks looking like? And here's 5 minutes later when the bids start coming in, right? So I see this bid come in. I see these bids. I see a lot of soaking, right? A lot of these bids are, getting sold into, right? So whoever's buying this stock is buying at these prices, right? When big bids get filled, it doesn't mean it's going to go up all the time, but especially when there's multiple layers of bids below it, right? It does show a sign of accumulation, and then, matching it up with the MAs, like the 1 minute 20 and 1 minute 50, you can really form a thesis about what could happen. All right, so this is when the 1 minute 20 starts to catch up, right? We could see the bids. We could see a lot. And then right before they initiated, look how many bids they throw up under this. This is why I thought I should have changed. Because at this point, right before it's squeezed high day, the chart paint is turning more and more bullish, right? The 1 minute 20 is holding a MA, a common manipulation MA, they need to pay attention to. There's bid stacks on 1 minute 20, and now we have lower high, lower high, lower high, and fake $4 resistance, right? Fake whole dollar resistance. So, this potential high day clear out over here is the chart and the book is turning extremely bullish. I should have just, but like I said before in videos, when you long something like this, say you went long at 380-ish right here, you have to sell a lot into the high day clear out, right? Especially in a market where things are not squeezing, 100% past the gap, right? In early February, you could go long here, and this would squeeze a 50%, and you can make insane money going long, but it's just not the market for that, especially when there's not a whole lot of bids following this play up. And yeah, so we'll go over my short. So here's the 930 push, high day clear out. They pull back into these bids. I didn't want to long just because of the market conditions, right? Because at this point, if we go back to the chart, we already had, one squeeze, two squeeze, and then a high day clear out. So, and we're in a market where market open shorts. I said right before, it said on my Discord when this move happened, I'm like, a lot of times when you get an aggressive move, right, but right before market open, especially ones that are making, aggressive moves that are making new highs. A lot of times those aggressive moves are weak, right? You start to see, this is actually the type of price action, especially in a market where market open shorts are working, that is a bearish factor. It's a bearish factor to get some type of aggressive move, pretty much just higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, aggressive move, in the market open. So I was like, we could have a really nice market open short, which is why I wasn't looking to, a lot of times the price action that comes before has a big influence on patterns like this working, right? Like, yeah, maybe they throw some bids here for the rotation. And if this was a strong market where things were squeezing 500% of the day, you could absolutely go long here, right? Absolutely. But in a market where high day clear out shorts are working, we're in a market where morning market open shorts are working. And then you get moves like this. And when the market gets weaker, you start to get moves like this where there's bids lower, but there's no bids on the push, right? And I used to just long market open longs into big bids no matter what. And I realized that I would long down here and then I would cut it here, and I would have like these like break even or, tiny loss trades where I'm like, man, this was like an A+ short. Now, of course, they brought it back up for the high day clear out. You don't know that's going to happen. But yeah, this is where I took the short up here. You could see the Aztecs. You could see the lack of bid follow up. I thought this market open high day clear out might actually be bearish, given the market conditions. And the stock already squeezed, 2-3 times. So anyway, here's those 1 minute 50 bids. Go back to this, right? Here's a 1 minute 50, right? Swipe VWAP, stack bids on the 1 minute 50, rotate it back up, right? Swiping VWAP is common. Swiping retail support levels is common before rigging a stock higher, right? It's actually a bullish factor, right? To swipe something like VWAP before rotating it. We see some bids, and they just start pushing it, and then they start throwing up these little bids, and they just start initiating it. So I got out just because I'm like, okay, there's the lower high paint. It seems this is a 1 minute 50 high day clear out short trap. They're just going to rotate it. And then, yeah. And a lot of times, we'll see this on the backside later. A lot of times when they're targeting a level to clear out, they'll stack a lot of ask there. They stack an ask. They fill all the ask, and then they pull it, right? And we'll see the backside short that happened about, 30 minutes ago. Do the same thing. But yeah, when I saw the lack of bid follow up here and this started stalling and started coming below 420, I just started market ordering right away. I figured, this is a market where the pattern's working. And then, yeah, in this market, this is what's happening in this market, man. We're getting like short squeeze, down only. like the way, go back to my, can I go back to my, where's my, go back to this. I mean, this is literally this is how stocks are moving nowadays. Like, short squeeze, down. This is like how stocks move. We get super choppy, aggressive short squeeze price action, and then lower highs and straight down. I mean, that is really the market we trade in nowadays. That being said, there was a nice backside short here. So if we go back to here, right, you could see the painted higher lows. Painted higher lows on a stock that already did multiple short squeezes and in a weaker market, and you have low volume soak, right? This is a nice 45-minute little bid prop here. That's why in my last videos I said, hey, bid props are working. First of all, bid props on the backside have been showing up every day for the past 2 weeks, and this gave it a great book signal. And I've been saying that they last usually around 45 minutes is kind of like when they start to work really well. Sometimes they could go on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but this was 10:03, and this move happened at 10:48. That's a nice 45-minute. We could see the lower highs. There's a lower high here at 3.6. There's a lower high here at 3.63, right? Gets a nice little backside level to swipe into. And it had a perfect book, right? Here's the book. See, they put up these big asks, one in the high 350s and one at 3.6. They fill the ask. They follow it up with some bids. They fill up this ask. And then they actually did come in with a bid here, right? It was only 10K, which ain't a whole lot, but it's not small either. But whenever I see like a bid come in, like a follow-up bid, especially after a major level's already been swiped. Now, I should have added here. I was just kind of watching it. But the lack of buying after the liquidity target has been already, executed, right? We already see the big ask getting filled. We see 3.6 getting swiped. A 10-20K bid doesn't necessarily have to be bullish. It could be bearish in this context, right? And the lack of buying once that bid comes in, is also bearish in this context, and they just take out. And I like that there's no bid below this, and that's why after this gets executed, right, this comes back to the higher lows, right? Stalls for a couple minutes, and then that's how you get this is how backside works, right? You paint the higher lows, you swipe the level, it comes back to the higher lows, comes back to the trend line, crack, right? Just look how much selling that is within like less than 10 minutes, right? Like the top of the the top of the backside push, all the way, 3.7 to 3.1 in like less than 10 minutes. So anyway, pretty nice. It's getting very, very, very low volume. I am still holding some. Let's see if it gets sub 3, but I hate when it gets in a zero volume fades like this. It does have some support levels that get cracked, so I'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, and really quick on IBIO, the short that I actually took this candle, even though I didn't like how far, both of my shorts were smaller size because of how far away. So this is a possible fake 5-minute flag where they have a big high volume initiation off the 1-minute 50, and then it starts to stall really hard. I hated how this was like 20 cents away from high day. There's still a bunch of empty space up here. Not a lot of fun, which is why they threw up a massive bid at 2.55 and they started initiating it. I actually just got out. I got out on this, so I shorted these candles. I got out here. Don't have my chart with me. Then I shorted the same pattern here where we had the 1-minute 50 big initiation. I shorted at 3, but again, same problem where high days all the way up here and we have lower high paint. And then I actually had to go to the bathroom, so I put my risk at like 310 and I ended up getting squeezed on this candle. But I had only about half size on both those trades, but it was okay. LIXT was much better. So anyway, IBIO was a crazy one. This one, I guess I could make a whole nother video just on this book, but man, this had an insane book. IBIO made some insane rigs back in the day. I think like a couple years ago, I had a couple crazy rig jobs on it. Definitely one of those just insane tickers, man. Like, look, HoD Clearout here, big volume pre-market HoD Clearout. Look how big. That's why I say don't get baited. It was a weaker market, so I thought maybe this HoD Clearout actually could work. But when you get a HoD Clearout, that's the biggest volume candle of the day. Depending on the chart and the volume, it could be a massive short trap for sure. But yeah, I was not anticipating HoD Clearout here. Ended up squeezing. Fake $3 resistance, double top squeeze, followed by another squeeze. Like, hard chart, man. It's hard to it's hard to guess these HoD Clearouts, and who knows what ends up happening with the stock by end of day. Maybe it does some weird stuff and comes back up to $3. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Or maybe it fades straight down. I don't know, but I'm not in it. So yeah, insane ticker, insane volume. The book was insane, but I'll leave it at that. I want to make this video on LIXT. But yeah, I guess I could do a whole nother video on this if I really wanted to. But anyways, that's it for today. You guys have a good one. Information below about the Discord, and see you tomorrow.